Hey you guys, welcome back to episode number 8 of the Hive Chronicles. If you haven't seen from the first episode, I'll link it up here for you. In the last episode, I had talked about my essential nose job, which was my rhinoplasty, septoplasty, and the reduction of turbinates. And in this episode, I'm talking about angioedema. Okay, so what angioedema is hives are kind of like your standard urticaria, like anything that's kind of lumpy, bumpy all over you. And angioedema is deep underskin swelling hives. It's the swelling of the lower layer of your skin, just under the skin or mucous membranes. So usually with angioedema, like you see it a lot on your face. If you have like anaphylaxis, your lips, eyes, face all kind of swell up. It basically is just underskin swelling, and it's the worst. So anytime that I have a peanut allergy, I've had this happen. So when I had my anaphylaxis most recently back in 2019 in Korea, my arms were swollen under the skin, my hands, your tongue swells up. That happens to me pretty frequently. I'll have patches of my lips swell, but it was always associated with anaphylaxis. Now, as of May 22nd of 2019, I had episodes of angioedema without anaphylaxis. So on May 22nd of 2019, I woke up, again, I was like a month and a half post-surgery, maybe 2 months post-surgery. Everything was healing up fine. I was still having terrible hives that I couldn't stop, regardless of how much meds I took. They would still kind of spring up on me. But I woke up and had this puffy eye. So I'll insert a photo. Basically, I thought like, oh, this must be like a sty or something. Like, I don't really get styes. I haven't ever really had one, but I had this kind of swollen, like rolled eyelid, and it was painful because of the swelling, but so styes will have like a localized spot where you're like, oh yeah, that's where it is. This did not. So I went to work and just kind of dealt with it. Like, it wasn't super swollen, it was just kind of swollen. Came home and like had a hot compress on it all night, and like it didn't really calm it down. And a few days later, again, similar to all my other hives, after the swelling came down, it peeled and turned into eczema. And then on June 5th, so like 2 weeks later, I was at work at like late in the afternoon, and I'm like, why does my eye feel like it's swelling again? And next thing you know, I get home and here we go again. A swollen eye again, but a little worse this time. And I was getting some acne too, wasn't sure what that was all about, but now I have this swollen eyelid that's happening for a second time. So I went to go and see my eye doctor, and I think I got in like the next day or a day later. So again, that swelling had gone down by this point. My eyelid was crusty and peeling. And he took a look and he's like, no, there's no sign of a sty. So he's like, okay, like next time that this happens, try and get in with me right when it happens. Like, don't even book an appointment, just drive in, tell them that you're here for that swollen eye. So around this time, I also started getting like weird underskin cysts, like acne, but I hadn't really had acne before. So I also went in to go and see my family doctor, and he asked me to go see my dermatologist for this angioedema and acne. And I'm like, I don't have acne, but fine, like I'll book in an appointment to go and see him. Because I was having, I'll show you a picture, like patches of really terrible, lumpy, bumpy eczema, big kind of underskin cysts, like eczema on my eyelid where the angioedema would take over, which again, at this point, I still didn't know that was a hive. I was thinking this has to be a sty or something, but no amount of warm pressure and, warm towel over the eye would help it. So then again, on August 6th, this was a weekend now, thank God, didn't have to go to work like Quasimodo, but it happened again. So I had this swollen eye, but my eye doctor was closed, so I couldn't get in to see him because it was a weekend. But again, the exact same eyeball swollen yet again. And it was starting to kind of like, it was up in my eyebrow almost. So I thought this has to be some kind of ridiculous sty that's stuck here, or I had actually had, like I said, that maxillary sinus corrected right here. So I thought, is this some kind of infection, like swelling my eyelid? I don't know. But as the swelling would come down again, like my eyelid would stay dark red with eczema. It would peel. While the eye was swollen for maybe 24 hours, the actual peeling process would take like 5 days. It was awful. It was just like this whole summer, I couldn't not have this one busted eyelid. Okay, then September 6th, the worst one happened. Again, this was a work day, so prepare yourself, but this is how I woke up. I'll pan over to the eye. Oh my God, it actually really hurt because it was so swollen. It was smushing my eyeball. Like it was up in through my eyebrow. Like it was horrible. So I called into work, said I wasn't gonna be able to make it, used a banked day I had, and went to my eye doctor, my dermatologist, my allergist, and my family doctor, all in like a 6-hour span because I was gonna figure this out. So I go to my eye doctor and he looks all around this thing. It's so swollen, he's poking everywhere. He's getting up there with all his eye tools and it is not a sty. He says, no, this is a hive. This is angioedema. It's a huge hive. Go see your dermatologist. So that was my next stop. Headed over to my derm and said, okay, this is what's going on. It's not a sty, it's a hive. What do I do? My dermatologist was like, we need to figure this out. It is angioedema. Take like 4 Blexten right now. Don't do a hot compress, do a cold compress. And he was like, there's gotta be a reason for this. You need to get in to see an immunologist to figure this out. So he was the one who sent me to an immunologist and for a patch test. So I went from there to go and see my family doctor. And I told him about, okay, this is what my derm thinks it is, but I also have this, that was the sinus I had surgery on, about 6 months ago. Let's make sure that it's not, affecting my eyeball. And he kind of looked and was like, yeah, we'll send you to an ENT, but I don't think it is. It looks like angioedema. I did go and see that ENT shortly after, a few weeks later. It was not my sinus. My sinuses were all fine. They were doing great from the surgeries. It was just this hive. So this was now finally something that truly affected my life in that you can't go to work like this. It stops everyone in their tracks to check on if you're okay. And I just don't want to go to work like that. I just want to be fine, I just want to look normal like myself and not be itchy and definitely not look like Quasimodo. So this is finally me at my most desperate. I had a wedding coming up in like 6 months and I'm like, please, I cannot. If this happens while I'm getting married, I'm gonna lose it. So I have to figure it out. It's crunch time, let's figure it out. So in the next episode, I'm going to talk about my experience with the immunologist and the patch test and how that helped me a lot. So thank you guys again for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.